Hey guys, this is Connor over at the Bears 1132, and today we're just going to be looking at my new Glock 19 Gen 4. I figured I'd just sit you guys down and give you a little unboxing, show you what comes with the product. I opened it earlier, so there might be a little, packages that are unopened or are opened, so feel free to disregard that. I'm going to try and do this all in one take, so you'll see me mumble and struggle a little bit throughout it, but you know what? That's life. So we're going to press on from there. This is actually going to be one of the first U.S. made Glocks. So as you guys will know, anyone that's been around Glocks for a while, they are manufactured in Austria primarily, and these are actually very new to the U.S. market to be actually manufactured here in the States. So once I found out that was possible, I jumped right on it. So, without further ado, let's check out what's in this box. So this is what the box looks like. I have a GoPro mounted right now, so it might not be the easiest thing to look at, but this is what the box looks like. Okay. Open her up. And here we go. So we have our product, our Glock 19 Gen 4. And yes, it is unloaded, verified. It is unloaded. Okay. No ammo around this table. Okay, so this is the Glock 19 Gen 4. Okay, as you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see the print on this just because of the lighting right now, but it does say US on the frame, or the slide, excuse me. You might be able to see that there. So everything else looks exactly the same from the Austrian model, just the manufacturer markings on there. Okay, great looking gun, feels great in hand. Okay, perfect for concealed carry or for home defense. If you only want to buy one gun, Glock 19 you can't go wrong with. Okay, it's going to be factory sights on there, which are polymer. Some guys don't like that. They're fine. I like to go with the Trijicon HDs, some Trijicon night sights, some 10-8 sights. There's a lot of great aftermarket sights out there that you can try. But these are suitable if you don't mind the notch and post style in the back, or if you don't mind the fact that they're polymer if you're not trying to do one-handed loads off a belt or anything like that, because this is not exactly a great platform to be racking off of for one-handed because it is polymer, it can break, so you got to take that into account. What else comes into the box here? We have three 15-round magazines right there. Comes with three of them, which is nice. Oops, excuse me. Get that closer here. Three of them. Set those aside. We also have our lock that will probably never leave this case, because what's the point of this if you have a safe or a quick access lockbox? These are just kind of the literal media that you need these to be in your boxes. But you know what? Some guys like these when they travel, so it's nice and free. You don't have to go out and buy another one. Let's see, we also have, this is actually new to this model. I didn't have this come with my Glock. My Glock 22 Gen 4 did not come with these options. It had the two back straps, as you can see here. It'll have the gun will come as the factory style, which will not have any back straps, which is actually the small frame. Your typical Gen 3 Glock will have the medium back strap on there. That's the standard size frame. So the one that comes in the box for this one is actually the smaller frame. So you'll have the medium that comes with this, as well as the large. And what's new to this model, which maybe today, maybe it's just the Gen 4s of this year they're coming out with these, but I think from what I know, this is just with the U.S. made models. It actually comes with the beaver tail style medium and large back straps, which is kind of nice if you want a little more meat underneath your hand for going in for the grip. I think the stock ones are just fine. As you can see on my hand, it fits right there. You're not getting any slide bite or anything like that. It feels great. But as you can see, if you want a little more extended, you guys are used to 1911s, this might be something that you might want to go that avenue. So, got that option. Comes with a speed loader. These ones kind of suck, to be honest. I've tried them before, and they really don't work that well. Maybe it's just me. I've used the one that came with the Smith & Wesson M&P, which I think is phenomenal if you need it. But me personally, I'll just load it by hand. It's not that complicated. Maybe Glock mags are pretty stiff when you first get them, so it might be a little helpful for you guys or gals that have weaker hands or not used to loading magazines. Maybe you're a newer shooter, not really used to loading them up. So these might be a good option for you. Just for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of them. So I'll put that to the side. And then the last part over here, we also have, it comes with a nice little cleaning kit. I actually do use these. I use this when I clean my Glock 22 and obviously my Glock 19 once I get it shooting a couple times. Has a jag slot in there, so you can put your patches on there as well as a tip. So if you want to screw in your bronze brush, put it right in there. It's nice. It's actually pretty good quality too, nice and stiff. Okay, comes with that. Underneath these, you'll see it'll have the 2 spent shell casings from the factory. Okay, so just to do the function check from Glock, which is always nice to make sure your guns, can actually, at least handle 2 rounds before they ship it out to you. Not like that's going to be a huge, thing to look at, but it's not better than nothing. Underneath, this is actually glued down, so you really got to pull this out. You can tell when I opened it earlier, I kind of ripped off some of the foam, which is not a huge deal. So this is just probably going to be the manual inside here. Let's open this thing up. This thing is just really bolted down, so we'll open this envelope up. Check it out. Inside, yep, is going to be the manual. So over there. It's going to be, an NRA card. Join the NRA. You guys should all join the NRA. If you guys haven't, if you're a gun owner, it's it's very important to protect the rights. I'm not going to sell you on that. Blah blah blah. You've heard that before. So get that out of here. A few more firearm safety things. If you guys need to look through that, new shooters should probably look through that. Always good to know your safety. Put that to the side. Glock shooting foundation, not bad, and a registration thing. Okay, and then right here is going to be your manual. Always good to read your manual if you guys are unfamiliar with Glock systems. They're a very simple pistol, but it can't hurt to know more about it. Definitely give this a quick read. It's not complicated. They're pretty big pictures too, and actually it looks like a newer model manual from the Glock 22 model. So you can see pictures in there, actually really clean. You can, very easy to read if your eyesight's not too great. Pretty large print. So you can take, be sure to take, at least skim through it, find the stuff that you need to learn about it, just the cleaning aspects and, safety aspects if you want to learn about the internal safeties. A lot of guys say that Glocks are not safe because they don't have an external safety. Well, I call BS on that because the fact there are 3 safeties inside the Glock. Okay, you're going to have your trigger safety, which this gun will not fire if you say you drop it down a staircase or on the ground and you have a round chambered in there. It's not going to go unless you depress this safety latch. You can see that right here. See, if I push the side of the trigger, it's not going anywhere, but you physically have to push on that. There's also a hammer block safety in there and a trigger safety internal. So there's three total safeties in there. Okay, so be sure to look up on that. Very safe guns. It's just that the people that train with them, they don't understand the safeties, and when they have misfires or negligent discharges, it's really just because a lot of guys are, don't have good trigger awareness, trigger control, and they really, coming out of holsters like the Serpas, Blackhawk Serpas, some guys will, push that release button in their hand. They say their finger slips down and pulls the trigger like that. Well, you need to train better than that. That's just improper training on their points. Because I've used Serpas with these style of guns for years, and I've never had any close to a problem of where my finger slides into the trigger guard. You should really, once you use the Serpa disconnect, when you pull it out of the holster, your finger is right on the frame. So unless you're having some crazy down pressure where you're sliding like that, that's a personal training issue, not the gun itself. So very, very safe gun. I'm going to point it towards the camera so you safety guys don't freak out on me. So you guys can take a look at the barrel, take a look at different styles of this. The grip texture is outstanding. I think they got it perfectly compared to the Gen 3 model and the RTF model. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. The RTF model was a really rough textured frame. It was almost too rough. I liked it, but if you were trying to conceal carry with it, it was not an option because it would really rip up your shirts. This is perfect texture. It's grippy enough to where you can handle it when it's wet or when you're bloody or anything like that, but it's not rough enough to where it's going to really irritate your skin if you're concealed carrying it. Okay, I got some specs for you guys that are too lazy to look them up yourselves. Here they are. Alright, so what we got here, the length of this pistol from the muzzle down is going to be 7.28 inches. For you guys in international, it goes by the metric system, that's 185 millimeters. The height is going to be 4.99 inches or 127 millimeters. The width of the gun, which we're talking about, the fatness, which is really important for if you're trying to conceal carry. You want as thin as possible profile. It's really not about the length. It's going to be the thickness is what's going to be more comfortable for you for concealed carry. So the width is going to be 1.18 inches or 30 millimeters, which isn't too big, but it's not exactly small either if you're used to a single stack frame. But you know what? It's a Glock. It's going to go bang every time. It's not gonna be like a 1911, which you have to baby or really maintenance up. You got it. But this kind of gun, you can bury it in the ground, take it out, and they'll still run 100 rounds through. I mean, they're they're AKs, basically the AKs of pistols. Okay, they're very reliable. Never had a malfunction with my Glock 22. Very similar style. They're both Gen 4s. All right, back to the specs. The sight radius is going to be from the front sight to the rear sight. It's going to be 6.02 inches or 153 millimeters, which is a nice sight radius for a compact or service. I like to consider it a service style pistol, not a compact size, because to be honest, this is not really compact. Okay, yes, they can consider smaller ones subcompact, but this is really, I would consider as a service style pistol, service size, excuse me, because you're still fitting your all three fingers on there. You can still use this for duty. A lot of police officers and other LE will use this as their primary gun, or if they're not using a Glock 22, Glock 17, some guys like the smaller frames for the females, or just it fits their size better. And that would be, for the 40 would be the Glock 23 or the Glock 19 and 9, which this is chambered in 9mm. If you didn't know that already, if I didn't mention that, the Glock 19 is the 9mm version. Back to the specs, the barrel length is going to be 4.01 inches or 102 millimeters, which is great. Anything above 4 is pretty good for a pistol, a sidearm. I like to have at least 4 inches on those. Subcompacts usually drop into 3.5 to 3 mark. The more inches on your barrel, obviously you're going to have higher velocity. So you're especially in a 9mm cartridge, you want as much velocity as you can. Okay, pressing on, unloaded weight. These are all Glock specs from their website, so I'm not sure if they loaded it with a magazine or without one, but they're saying that the weight unloaded is going to be 20.99 ounces, which is extremely light. Again, I don't know if that's with an unloaded magazine or without one, but I don't have a scale that's really proper for that kind of measurement. But that's kind of a spec you can take with a grain of salt. You guys can check it out yourself, or look at another review that has that has something that can measure it a little more effective than I can. But 20.99 ounces, regardless, is a very lightweight gun, especially for a full size, almost a full size Glock pistol. A service style, compact size, which is great. And the trigger pull from the factory is stated to be 5.5 inches or 5.5 pounds, excuse me, and very clean. I actually found that, I don't know if it's just the US model Glocks or it's the fact that I haven't shot a stock trigger in a while from the Glock, but this one actually feels very smooth. As you can see, the reset is very pronounced, very tactile. You can hear it. Okay, so when you're cycling the slide, it's very short and pronounced. You can hear it, you can feel it. It's nothing. Okay, and the full pull is very soft as well. I actually purchased a Ghost 3.5 connector for this, but after trying this out, I haven't brought it to the range yet, but I will soon. I'm going to test it out, see how I like it. I don't know if I'm going to put it in or not, just because from what it feels like right now, it's very smooth. It's not it's not very abrasive. There's no very slight creep. It's not very gritty. Sometimes we'll be able to say the Smith & Wessons will be a little gritty until you fix up the triggers, or some of the other guns. This is actually very smooth. You can feel that braking wall, and it's a soft pull. In comparison, I'll bring in, this is the Glock 22, which is the full-size 40 version, but for all intents and purposes, it's very similar. The frame size is going to be the exact same as the Glock 17 full-size version of the Glock 19. Okay, so this obviously is unloaded. Okay, no magazine in. This actually has the 3.5 pound Ghost connector in it. So you can see the difference in here. It's going to be a little bit lighter on the take-up, but you're not going to feel any kind of pressure against that, and that wall will be slightly, so me pulling them together, I'd say it's about a pound less, if I had to guess. I don't have a measurement on me, but if this is going to be a 5, if the Glock 19 stock is 5.5, I'd say this is just around 4.5, maybe a pinch higher, but I'd say for all intents and purposes, this is, but with the 3.5 connector, it's about 4.5 compared to the 5.5. If that's a big deal for you, if you guys like that, the Ghost Ring 3.5 connector, just the stock one's about $12 on Ghost. I don't know what the website's called, but just type in Ghost on Google, you'll find it. Ghost Ring connectors, and it's got $12 to $15 purchase, but it's a real nice addition, nice modification if you're looking to shoot competition, or if you just like, if you just want a lighter trigger pull. Some people like that. Actually, I got really comfortable with this one, so I'm gonna try it. I'll bring the 19 to the range and see how it is with the stock trigger, but as I said before, even without the modification, very smooth. But going back and forth with between the two, you can see a noticeable difference between that pound or so. Is it a big deal? Absolutely not, especially for a carry gun. 5.5 is more than adequate, but as I said before, it's all personal preference. If you guys, most people shoot better with a lighter trigger. You don't want to get too light for people that aren't, great with trigger awareness, and can be dangerous. I don't personally believe in that. I think you should be able to train with your gun, even if it's a whisper trigger, a hair trigger that's 2 pounds. If you're keeping your finger, off the trigger guard on the side of the frame and putting your finger on that trigger when you're ready to, take action, it's as safe as it needs to be. But that's just my personal opinion. As far as that goes, guys, I think that's all I have for you guys with this Glock 19 Gen 4. If you guys have any questions about this weapon or any questions for me regarding the Glock series of pistols, the Glock 22 that I showed earlier, any of the specs, the Ghost Ring, the Ghost 3.5 connector, excuse me, if you have any questions about that or my modifications that I put on my guns, including weapon lights, different kinds of trigger jobs, all that kind of stuff, feel free to leave me a personal message or just drop a comment below, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, if you guys like this video, please hit the like button, share, favorite, and subscribe. If I get some positive reviews on this, I'll be sure to do some more. I do have a couple more pistols I can show you guys, the M&P series, the M&P Shield, a few rifles, a few ARs. So feel free to leave some comments and share and all that good stuff for me. All right, thanks a lot, guys. This is Connor over at the Bears 1132, and I'll see you guys later.